Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Hannah and on my channel I do anti-MLM content. I also have a clothing reselling business on the Poshmark app, so I have a lot of reselling and Poshmark tips and tricks videos as well. For today's video, I have another MLM horror stories for you. These are your personal experiences with a multi-level marketing company that you have taken the time to type out and send to me and have allowed me to share for this video. I want to say thank you if you already have sent me your story. It is really exciting when I get a notification in my inbox that I have a new MLM horror story coming in. And what I do is I just move them into a special folder within my email, and then when I sit down to film this video, I go through and I pick out a few at random. I have not pre-read any of these, and the purpose for these videos is to give you a space to share your story because there are some insane things that go on in these multi-level marketing companies. It really does feel like everyone who's been involved with them in some capacity has a crazy story to share. So I want to say thank you for sending your story to me, and thank you for allowing me to share it on this platform. If you have your own experiences that you would like to share, the instructions for how to do that are in the description box of all of my videos. It's very easy. You just send me an email. And with that, let's read some stories. All right, so this one says, "Hey again, Hannah. First of all, thank you for reacting to my email in your very first MLM horror stories video. And congrats on starting your horror stories as a new series for your channel. I absolutely love it. Again, my name is Kayla, and you're welcome to use my name if you choose to share this story." So if you watched my very first MLM horror stories video, Kayla sent the most epic email about the Young Living essential oils reference guide, I think it was called. Yeah, okay, so she mentions it in this email too, but it was the most insane app that Young Living distributors are apparently encouraged to download, and it tells them how to, like, I guess, prescribe and concoct different essential oil blends for all kinds of health ailments and conditions. Absolute insanity. If you have not watched that video, I highly recommend you do that. Real quick, just so you know, I forgot to mention in my last email that the essential oil reference guide I told you about is known as the Bible of essential oils in the Young Living community. Wonderful. And it was written by Gary Young himself. No way. How did I not notice that? What a nut job. And honestly, I'm not surprised that he would have produced something like this. The hardback copy is now on its 8th edition and still in publication. A bit about me: I was in Young Living from 2017 to 2019 and only recently stopped purchasing their products. I'm still trying to get all that crap out of my house. I actually stumbled upon your YouTube channel because I recently started reselling clothes on Poshmark. I actually found success using some of your advice and tips about the Poshmark platform. I enjoyed watching your content so much because you're so well spoken. Oh my gosh, this is so nice. Because you're so well spoken, and I like how logical and thorough you are with information. I decided to click on your very first anti-MLM video with a what the hell kind of mindset. Before I watched your video, I still believed that network marketing was a legit business model, and I still didn't understand most of the constituents that went with it. I have a handful of people in my life who are in MLMs, and I just kind of thought to myself, good for them, whenever seeing their content. Now I cringe. Me too. I've since then gone deep down into the anti-MLM rabbit hole, and there is simply no turning back. I feel less alone, less guilty, and less ashamed of myself for being in an MLM in the first place, and also for failing at it. Now on to the actual horror story. It's a doozy. There really is no turning back. Once you've gone down the anti-MLM path, once you start to kind of peel back all these layers and really see the business model for what it is, there is no way to be supportive of it. I firmly believe that, and you absolutely 100% should not feel bad about being a part of it. And please know that this sense of failure is not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of the business model. Honestly, you just did what it was designed to do. So if you really think about it, if it's intended for most people to fail, you actually succeeded. Back in 2016, I had a coworker who would soon become both my direct upline and my best friend. She was a few years younger than me, but she ended up becoming a manager at the restaurant where we waited tables together. I feel gross just going back in time in my mind because she was constantly talking to all of our coworkers about essential oils and why we needed them. She would talk about oils nonstop to everybody who stood still long enough to hear her word vomit. The health claims were astonishing. It seemed like there was an oil for any and every situation. Let's call this girl Natalie. Okay, Natalie. Let me tell you a little about Natalie. She is a beautiful girl, very well spoken, and very conscious of how she carries herself. Her biggest concern in life is maintaining her outward appearance of false perfection. She's a wonderful actor. She and I were best friends and business partners, except it was all a bunch of lies. I feel like most women who get pulled into MLMs don't realize the magnitude of the harm that they are causing, but not this girl. She is stone cold. She is the perfect kind of person to live life jumping from one MLM to the next until they've made as much money as they can off of the people under them. She truly only saw me as a dollar sign, and I thought she was my BFF. She manipulated and used me for years. I was her only successful downline member. I was even a bridesmaid in her god-awful wedding. But if I hadn't signed up under her, she and I never would have become close. It's just another example of how predatory the business model can be. I hate to say it, but I was very impressionable at this time, so it didn't take long before I was pulled into it. Oof, I had no idea what an MLM was. And I didn't even hear the term multi-level marketing for the first several months of my business. See, this is why you should never, ever, ever feel ashamed or embarrassed that you got involved with something like this. Because honest to God, most people don't know what it is when they join. They don't. Because all you're told is this is a legitimate business model. You can make all this money. It's so easy. Work from home. Like, it is all the things that you want. They are promising you all of the things that everybody would love to have. So who wouldn't want to take that opportunity? Based on what I've heard, a lot of people seem to have the same experience that you had, where it's like you don't know what you're getting involved in until you're in it, or until after the fact and you look back on it and you're like, oh my gosh, I was in a multi-level marketing company and I can relate to all these kind of terrible experiences. My uplines were all terrible communicators, including Natalie. My specific questions about the business never got answered. I was never given any real solid facts about the business side. As it is with most MLMs, numbers and business strategies were never mentioned. Instead, I was immersed into a world of self-help products, books, videos, podcasts, video meetings, because none of them knew how to use Zoom, coffee meetups, conventions, etc. But I was never given any tangible advice on how to make sales. I was in close communication with several of my uplines, and they were all older women with grown kids. Super sweet ladies, but it was like they had no idea what they were talking about. So they didn't know what information was even important to pass down to us. Communication within Young Living gets trickled through the downlines like a game of telephone. Any real information takes so long to get filtered down, and it's always skewed by misinformation. Also, along with my uplines, they always said that it wasn't their job to give me all the information. It was their job to point me in the right direction so that I could find the information for myself, but they rarely helped with that either. Instead, they pointed me in the direction of a whole buttload of Young Living Facebook groups. These were not run by professionals in any way, shape, or form. These were just ordinary people like me looking for answers and spreading health claims like crazy. When I tell you, it was wild. It seems like essential oils could cure anything and prevent bad stuff from happening. The amount of times I heard the words boost your immune system. And I have the story of the history behind thieves' oil memorized by heart. You know, the one about the guys who were grave robbers during the bubonic plague outbreak and used a blend of herbs that made them immune. Yeah, that one. If anything, this pandemic showed all of us that essential oils don't protect anyone from the plague. You really can't make this up. I also have to say this, no one needs to be that damn oily all the time. It's excessive and gross. Who wants to be that oily? I personally already have oily skin. One of my least favorite things is when you see Young Living or doTERRA reps even, and they're talking about being like an oily babe or an oily mama. I'm like, ew, nasty. Can we just not use that term anymore? I hate it. Bless my innocent little heart. I really thought that if I just worked hard enough and never gave up on the vision, that I would make millions and not have to work anymore at all. My only real goal was to get out of bartending and waiting tables. It's so sad that when you're being recruited into an MLM, you're always being told how easy it is. It's so easy to just work from your phone, take a picture and post it, and you're suddenly rolling in the dough. But then when you're sucked into it, it becomes this hustle and grind and self-help culture, TED Talks and motivational speakers. I bought so many self-help books. I should also let you know that I'm deathly allergic to most commercial antibiotics, so you can imagine that all the health claims about essential oils was just another reason for me to buy as many of them as I could. If oils could boost my immune system so that I never got sick in the first place, it wouldn't matter that I couldn't take antibiotics. Oh gosh, okay. I mean, yeah, boosting your immune system, great idea. How about we do that through vitamins, through drinking some water, through fruits and vegetables, 8 hours of sleep a night. Take like an airborne or an emergency or something, okay? But essential oils? Really? Like, I would love to have an essential oil rep of any MLM company sit me down and tell me how sniffing oils or putting oils on certain parts of my body is going to boost my immune system. I would love to hear this explanation. I started to notice a few things were off. There was so much misinformation floating around in these Facebook groups that I was a part of. I would get spammed by my uplines, multiple texts, emails, and Facebook messages daily, on top of all the posts from groups that I was in. I started to notice that there was a lot of exaggeration going on. I was becoming a pro-oiler. Ugh. And I knew that some of these claims that were being made about certain essential oils were totally false. When I asked my uplines about it, I was told that oils have different reactions for everybody and they won't be the same across the board for everyone. So that's why I wasn't seeing the same results from my products that everyone else was. I believed them, even though I knew the problem was deeper than that. Our products are universal and they can cure anything, except for when they don't work for you, then that's your fault, not our fault. God, I hate it so much. I soon began drinking 2 ounces of their, oh God, okay, I've avoided this word. I don't know how to pronounce it. Please hold. Okay, I have learned. It's pronounced Ningxia, I believe. I soon began drinking 2 ounces of their Ningxia red fruit juice supplement every single day. I was told that the Ningxia berries, goji berries, made the people in the Ningxia region of China live longer, and was shown a PowerPoint presentation about how it increases your white blood cell count. Big oof. Okay, I actually did not know that this was named after a place in China. I thought that Young Living just made up this word. The more you know. I was still drinking this stuff in 2020 when my husband told me that we couldn't afford it anymore. I'll be attaching some pictures I've saved on my computer of some of the health claims about Ningxia. You'll notice all the made up numbers. And I actually just remembered something super gross. I once found a small sliver of something metallic in my daily shot of Ningxia. I was so grossed out and I took a break from it for a few months. One of my uplines told me that it was from the iron in the juice. My other upline, Natalie, told me that it was okay that there was metal in my drink because, quote, things like that happen in factories sometimes. Did you know that the FDA allows food product factories to have blank percentage of dead bugs and rat droppings in their food to be considered safe? You can't even make this up. I've heard something along those lines as far as the dead bugs. I have not heard that about, quote, rat droppings. And honestly, the percentage of dead bugs thing would not surprise me. I could imagine that it's almost impossible to guarantee that like a fly or a flea didn't make its way into some kind of like production batch. Yes, it's gross to think about, but no, it's not going to harm you. I don't think we should be comparing the occasional fly to literal metal in your drink. I feel like those two can't be compared on like the same level. I'll put these pictures that Kayla included on the screen right here. Here's one of the Ningxia red drink. I'm assuming that this means 29.5 milliliters is equivalent to all these things. I don't know, it's kind of confusing because there's like 2 bottles plus the little shot glass. I'm not sure what they're comparing, but it's saying 59 heads of broccoli, 73 strawberries, 814 blueberries, all this crap. Do we believe it? Not really. This reminds me so much of the Beachbody Shakeology. They also talk about that in this same context of like, this much Shakeology is equivalent to this many fruits and vegetables. And who am I to say? I'm not a chemist or a nutritionist or whatever you need to be to know these things. It just doesn't seem very likely in my opinion, but who knows? Yeah, here's another one of these. 2 ounces of the Ningxia red equals 146 strawberries. Does that say 45,000 almonds? Am I missing a decimal? What does that say? I think that says 45,000. All right, I call BS. There's not a chance that 2 ounces of this magical drink has the same nutritional value as 45,000 almonds. No. And here's a third one too. Same kind of graphic. 1 ounce of Ningxia Red's antioxidant power is equal to all these things. Personally, I don't buy it. Here's something else really shady that didn't really register with me until just a few days ago. When I was a rep for Young Living, I was always so confused on how to make product sales. I was so confused about how our paychecks worked and what exactly I was making money on. Back in 2017, 18, and 19, all the way to 2021, this year, Young Living did not give their distributors any money for directly selling the products. What? That sounds ridiculous to me. I just did a Young Living deep dive, but that was in late 2021, and so I'm sure that all the sources I had for that were current. I had no idea about that. That is a pyramid scheme, and I'm sure that that's exactly why they restructured their compensation plan, apparently. They made it so confusing on purpose. They overwhelmed me with all these graphics and bonus checks, but the bottom line was, number 1, you had to have a downline. Number 2, you had to spend 100 PV on your monthly order. And number 3, you had to sell starter kits to get a paycheck. And when someone bought a kit, it automatically signed them up as a distributor whether they wanted it or not. Again, they didn't change that until this year. That's insane. Thank you for telling me that. I'm happy I know that now. When I asked my uplines how it worked when selling individual products, they told me I could just order the products under my own account with the wholesale price, and then I could charge people for the retail price of the item or more if I wanted to. This was highly discouraged. To break that down in a way that hopefully makes more sense, I could buy inventory, set a price for it, and sell it to someone if I wanted to. This would theoretically be beneficial because it would give me some pocket money and also help me earn more points towards free products on the Young Living website. However, anyone could go online and purchase individual items at retail price. The Young Living website has always been open to the public. You didn't need someone's membership ID or anything like that, even if you were buying a starter kit. If someone wanted to purchase an oil or healthcare product, cleaning product, body care supplement, etc., they wouldn't have to go through me or any other distributor to do it. So Young Living never once cut me a check for selling products. With that being said, you do earn money from your downline buying products. You would get bonuses for your downline purchasing their starter kit, making their own sales, their PV and OGV amounts, and for signing up people under them. Apparently in 2019, Young Living was served a class action lawsuit for being a pyramid scheme, and then this year in 2021, they changed their entire business model. There it is. So back when I was with Young Living, it was extra schemy and scammy, as I was never once paid for directly selling a product. I was encouraged to sell the $160 starter kits, and that's what I focused on. Basically, my upline Natalie was a horrible person, a horrible friend, and a horrible business partner. We had a falling out after her wedding, but she continued to be fake nice to me even after I blocked her on social media because I was the only one in her downline who was making her any money. Funny how that works. They're just best friends when you make the money. Love that. After that, I started ghosting my uplines and dropped out of several of the Facebook groups, and I didn't sell anything else with Young Living ever again. Unfortunately, I was still buying the products up until just a few months ago. Now I'm determined to switch over to all non-MLM household products, and I'm already saving a ton of money I feel like I was just throwing in the trash before. For fun, I'll attach the 2017 Young Living income disclosure statement that was circulating when I started. After 2017, they stopped laying the numbers out like this and turned their compensation plan into a page full of really confusing graphs. They did, yeah. I noticed that. Their compensation plan is very confusing. I'll throw that in here as well if you want to check that out. There's so much more cringeworthy things I could tell you about, but it would take an entire novel for me to type it all out. Maybe one day I'll be brave enough to make a video or an Instagram live about all the BS I went through. You should. You absolutely should. But I'll end it for now so I don't take up any more of your time. Thank you for sharing this with others if you decided to do so. And thanks again for giving people like me a voice. We truly appreciate you for that. Yay, Kayla, I'm so happy. Thank you for sending me your story. I 110% think that you should speak out about your experiences. Sending it to me in an email format and letting me read it, that's an excellent way to do that. But I think that it would be really valuable for the people in your life and the people who follow you and the people closest to you to hear it coming from you. I think that that is super, super powerful. I think that you should do that. And we can look at this 2017 income disclosure statement. It's abysmal. What do we expect? The first rank had 33% of people in it. The next rank up had 41% of people in it. So right there already, the majority of the company at the bottom, typical. I wish that they gave us the median annualized income, but they only give us the average. And for the bottom rank, the average person made $312 a year. For the next rank above that, $906 a year, which when you consider that Young Living requires you to have a 100 PV point every single month, you're losing hundreds and hundreds of dollars a year, okay? The products are super expensive. You always see Young Living reps with like massive stockpiles of personal product that they have purchased and that they use on themselves. And that's because they continually have to purchase over and over and over every month. And you're constantly digging yourself a hole that you cannot get out of. So thank you, Kayla. Excellent story. I appreciate you sending that one in. Okay, this says, hey Hannah, hope you're doing fab. I love your videos. Ooh, fab, I love it. I'm from the UK and I've been in 2 MLMs without realizing it was a scam. Over the past couple of months, I've been doing loads of research and was shocked, so here's my experience. I went to university when I was 18 and I was so desperate for a job as I just came out of a 3-year job and I couldn't get one in the city I was in. I was on Indeed, which is a place where companies put up jobs for you to apply for, and Avon was on there. Yes, we have Indeed in the States as well, and it is completely overrun with MLM job listings. Same thing with LinkedIn as well, a different platform. Those two, oh my gosh, you can search any MLM and like so many job postings will come up. And fun fact, both of those platforms don't allow MLM job postings. They don't consider that to be a legitimate job opportunity, and you can actually report the listings if you come across them. In the eyes of these job listing websites, those those are considered like money-making schemes or business opportunities, and those aren't considered to be legitimate jobs on those platforms because they can't guarantee you any salary or wage. And a lot of times, hilariously enough, when you come across these listings, the person who's posting the job will usually put like income information not available at this time under like the salary section. Very entertaining. So fun fact, you can report those if you come across them. I knew that my best friend's mom sold it, and my mom and my boyfriend's mom have an Avon lady, so I thought, well, why not? I love the word mom, okay? The Hunness atmosphere was crazy in the WhatsApp chats. Oh, I can only imagine. I was on the 7th floor of my flat in uni, and I would buy boxes of stuff from them to sell, and only my mom and boyfriend's mom ever bought anything. With Avon, you can buy catalogs and bags to give to people to look at, and it was just ridiculous getting them up in my little room. So I ended up losing money and wasting my time. It was embarrassing, and I put so much effort into making little bags for people, and I got no response. But I'm not surprised. Uni students in Liverpool aren't going to buy Avon when we have Boots on our doorstep. My second experience was the dreaded Arbonne. Oh yes. They are so much worse. I was messaged by a girl I knew from high school, and I had zero time to do any research. It went so quick. Before I knew it, I was having my launch party. Looking back, I'm so embarrassed, but I had no clue what an MLM or even a pyramid scheme was, and I thought it would work because people doing it were so happy and really encouraging and seemed to be on my level. It felt like we all agreed on everything. Again, joining these things when you don't even know what they are. You cannot blame yourself for that. I was in the midst of a spiritual awakening and just took everything positive as a good thing. They bombarded me with messages. I was in so many group chats and even on individual chats. The upline were so consistent with contacting me. Felt like I was always in a Zoom call too. I don't know how these people do it for so long. I felt so bad if I missed one because I wanted to just get home from work and watch Drag Race, not listen to someone telling me their amazing Arbonne story. I spoke about giving it in as it was too much, and trying to message and post on Instagram was just stressing me out. And they were so, oh, everyone has days like that. No, girl, I'm having a panic attack over people not replying to me. And on top of that, they started doing shout out Saturdays. I was in work on shift and I was the first shout out. I knew at this point I had to leave, and it was not right because I wasn't doing anything that was amazing. They did it to pump me up to keep going, but it just made it worse. I was getting so many messages and I ended up crying in work. I'm very sensitive. That's okay, you can be sensitive. It was such an overwhelming experience, and at that point I had spent £100 on products and £30 on a ticket for a training. I was annoyed but just left. I'm very, very grateful that I left before I got even deeper. Yes, I was in Miracle Mornings too. It was a vulnerable position to be in, meditating on a Zoom call that time in the morning. I got rid of all the products as soon as I started learning and replaced it with all new stuff, and my skin had gone so clear I felt like they made my skin a bit crappy, to be honest. Anyway, sorry this is so long. I could say so much more, but I don't want to make you sit here forever. Thank you for reading. Please, no apologies needed for long stories. I love them. I think they're very valuable. And I'm so bummed to see that you got sucked into an MLM through Indeed. Because it just frustrates me so much when I see those job postings, and I always report them religiously because I'm like, if I can report this and it can get taken down, I can prevent someone from joining. That's how I always think of it. So dang, like I'm really bummed that you got sucked in through Indeed. Ugh. Because you think when you're searching on those platforms that everything you're coming across is legitimate, right? This looks like a legit job with a legit company and legit products, so this can't possibly be a scam. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm very happy that you got out, and it seems like one of the things that prompted you to get out was this shout out Saturday kind of thing, and you were like, I'm not even doing that great, and why am I getting shouted out? And it seems like maybe that was the point where you recognized, like, this is all a little fake. This is all a little bit of a show. It's all a facade to make us look like we're so successful and happy. So good for you for recognizing that. And you're like, this isn't right. I need to get out. Oh, it's a Cooper. Time for some snuggles. Okay, I'm gonna do one more story for this video because it's already getting a little bit long, and I have a dentist appointment. Bummer for me, right? This one says, hi, I have 2 stories. First of all, I want to preface this by saying that I have bipolar, ADD, and severe generalized anxiety disorder and social anxiety. This is very important to keep in mind. I started with Color Street in February of 2021. The reason I started this was because I was sent a sample, which is only 2 nail strips. That's interesting. You would think that they would send you like at least a full set. I don't know. Just walk around with with like 2 nails done. That's kind of funny. The strips lasted a long time, so I was really excited. I thought everyone needs this. I was also in a very manic phase of my bipolar. Color Street gives you several startup goals. Being bipolar and ADD, I can be very impulsive. To meet the goals, I literally spent so much money just to meet the goals. I told my upline that I wanted to quit because it was becoming detrimental. I told her that I literally have spent more money than customers did to meet goals. She, of course, told me that I was doing a great job, and I was like, wait, I just told you that I'm spending my money to meet goals. Yeah, you're like, wait a minute, I'm spending more than I'm making. And they're like, you're doing great. That's how it's supposed to work. Shortly after, I left. Thank the Lord. It is so easy to take advantage of those who have mental illness. I feel like they literally target those of us that should have nothing to do in MLM. After this, I threw a party for my cousin who had been a consultant at Sensi. She had asked me to join forever and I kept saying no. So anyway, I helped her throw a party. I literally made no sales. She added her sales to my party. Then she talked me into joining with the sales from my party. I was like, okay, whatever. If it works, cool. If not, cool. I have since quit. Both of the MLMs had a minimum to stay active, and to have your own website, you pay $10 a month. They also try to talk you into subscribing to help hit the goal to be active. Bonus, another story that just came to mind. I have a family member who sells Tupperware. I've thrown 2 parties for this person. I literally didn't make any sales. After not making sales, this person tried to talk me into joining. Obviously, they get more money for recruitment. It's so gross. This family member has a car from her MLM, but the name of the brand is all over the car. Such a mess. I'm so glad I found your channel. So you bring up a very, very important point that yes, people with mental illness, mental health conditions, they are targeted, and that's very unfortunate. And as you said, describing yourself as being impulsive, within this scenario of multi-level marketing, that puts you in a very vulnerable position financially because you're spending all this money to hit your goals. You're doing everything you can. You think you're doing the right thing, but in the end, it's not what's best for you. It's what's best for the scheme. It's what's best for the upline and the team as a whole. And I'm very sorry to hear that that was kind of taken advantage of in this situation. But on the upside, it does kind of seem like you didn't spend too much time in either of these MLMs, which is great. And it emphasizes the importance of you trusting your gut and being like, you know what? I'm spending way too much money on this. It doesn't feel right. I don't think this is how it should be. And if this is what's expected of me, I don't want to be a part of it. So I'm really happy for you that you realized that. Again, I'm sorry that you kind of got wrapped up in this. But you know what? We live, we learn, we move on. And I appreciate you sending the story to me. And thank you for bringing up this important topic that people with mental health conditions are often targeted for these money-making schemes. And I'm happy that we can kind of share your story and hopefully prevent other people from falling victim to that in the future. And with that, that is all the stories that I have for you for this MLM horror stories video. I did not get through all of the ones that I have, but like I said, I can never, ever, ever have too many. Please keep sending me your MLM horror stories. I love to read them. I love making these videos. I love being able to share your experiences. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I will see you in my next one real soon.